final shape is a capstone experience concluding the 10-year Light and Darkness Saga. So, of course, it is only fitting that server issues plagued the launch experience and nearly caused me to lose my mind.
A monumental change in the state of progression of trying to play this game.
However, while annoying, not even they were enough of a deterrent. Thus, I pushed through and completed the entire campaign over the course of an 18-hour stream. You can watch on my channel, but only the first 12 hours. For some reason, unknown to me, YouTube decided that as the live I bring up the server issues now, so I don't have to mention them again outside of when it matters. With that out of the way, after roughly 2.5 hours, I was finally able to log into my Warlock and begin the campaign. A cutscene narrated by Ghost starts and catches us up.
Long ago, the Traveler came to the Sol system. It brought a golden age to humanity. They explored, they built, they thrived. Until the collapse. A terrible calamity caused by the Traveler's oldest enemy. It brought the people of Sol to the brink of extinction. When all hope seemed lost, the Traveler saved humanity by creating us. With the Traveler's light, Ghosts and Guardians together protected the last city from the forces of darkness, no matter the cost. But we soon learned even that was more complicated than we thought. Our enemies wielded the light, shaking our faith in what we once thought we knew. From old conflicts grew new alliances. And just as our enemies learned to wield the light, we found a way to leverage the darkness. In that darkness, we rediscovered the being responsible for humanity's collapse. The Witness. It wishes to create what it calls the final shape. Our universe, perfected in the name of salvation. Everything calcified into eternity. We've tried to follow the Witness into the Traveler, and every attempt has failed. Until now. Vanguard Scout Crow wished his way inside. The paracausal bond he shares with his twin sister will guide us safely through. Now, our leaders prepare a strike force to enter the Traveler, to confront the Witness. That's our role, the tip of the spear. Every battle we've fought has brought us to here and now. It's time.
While light on information, Ghost alludes to enough events that the fight against the Witness does indeed feel like a true build-up. It is just rather unfortunate that I can't experience all of that story and content in the game. It's here that the concept of the plan, that was the final shape, is finally finalized. Based on how I understood it, the final shape obviously referred to the state of the universe after the Witness accomplished its goal. Destruction was obvious, but what that specifically entailed was unclear to me, mainly because I didn't have that much time to actually think about it. I did assume that it was a little bit more complicated than the universe just blowing up or something though. A final shape is explicit, and that something must exist at the end to take form for that shape. If there is nothing, there is everything. And that leaves us with something that is ultimately formless, much like the universe in its current state. According to the Witness, their final shape entails the universe entering a perfect stillness, forever, in stasis. Cycling back to Beyond Light, while the events that took place made sense, I now have a bit more context behind them. By means of the ziggurat, the witness, or at least an aspect of it, tested us. Aramis fell into the temptation, but we did not. As a result, we gained the power of stasis, a power of darkness that most likely first belonged to the witness.
Is it possible? There you are. You don't know how long I've been looking for you.
Outside of the Cosmodrome, a ghost finally finds who they've been looking for. They are us. While this cutscene is still only a few months old to me, well, technically, I did see it 10 years ago, but I have no emotional attachment to that memory. The purpose of doing so was to evoke said emotion from the rest of the player base, whom probably has not seen or thought about this cutscene in many years. It also serves as a reminder of how we started, where we are now, and what we have to do. After the title drop, a third cutscene starts. This time, the establishing shots reveal a small market street that is within the lost city. While mainly consisting of humans, there are a few spottable Elixni. This likely indicates that they have integrated into society and are able to represent their beliefs into an evolving culture. We follow a child holding onto his mother. He looks up and spots a guardian. The curious look on the child's face and brief pause, which forces his mother to turn around and lightly tug at his arm, indicates some sort of reverence for such a character. The disappearance of the traveler, and still seeing a guardian, could also be a bit of a quandary that starts festering within the boy's mind. A busking Elixni strumming some chords on a guitar draws the attention of the boy, reinforcing the idea of multiple groups coming together. He soon turns around and examines the market stalls selling fruit. The merchant hands the boy an apple from the top of the sack. Normally, apples carry a fair amount of significance through their symbolism. However, I don't think I can read that deeply into what it means here. As the boy holds the forbidden fruit, a loud rumble from the sky demands all eyes.
You live without purpose, anguish, bliss, a meaningless cycle of action and reaction. Let's bring an end to your fear.
In the minds of the living, a voice speaks. Here, the witness introduces us to its philosophy. According to them, we live without purpose. I assume that by purpose, the witness is referring to a reason for existence. We are born and we must exist. In this case, the witness is correct. However, that is just a narrow view of what having a purpose means. The beauty of being creatures with a conscious experience is that we are able to realize that there is no reason for us to exist outside of the circumstances that led us here. With us not beholden to some ultimate goal, we are left with finding a purpose for ourselves in order to maximize our own potential. We have the freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. We create our own destiny. The scale of the earth-shattering cataclysm, combined with the intimate body distortion in the vision, culminates in making the witness's final shape feel like a true end that we must avoid, no matter the cost. The camera focuses on the palm of the mother before transitioning to Marasov.
The witness nears the final shape.
We're initiating Operation Ahamkara. Now.
The Traveler cannot abate it much longer. The portal is unstable.
Ikora, the Guardian, me. I won't lose another soldier in this war.
I feel the grasp of the witness. It's fighting me. This might be the end.
If it is, it was an honor to serve the last city with you.
Based on the stoicism displayed by Commander Zavala and Ikora, I assume that only Mora saw this vision. Of course, those two are almost always stoic, which makes the situation harder to read. Also, in reference to the Commander, I would like to take a moment to pay some respect to the late, great Lance Reddick. Keith David, his replacement, did not let him down, and neither did the rest of the voice acting cast. Or the entire Bungie team, to be honest. The cutscene ends as Ikora and Zavala barrel into the Traveler's pale. I pick Legend for my difficulty, obviously, and enter the threshold. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible pilot and end up crashing my ship. No wonder we don't fly around outside of the cutscenes. The absolute scale outlined by the mosaic of space clutter illuminates the treacherous path forward. Mara connects to our line, but the Commander and Ikora are MIA.
Good framing.
We have no signal on either Vanguard leader. The Guardian's comm line is open but non-responsive.
We're here. We crashed, but we're here. What is this place?
The Traveler contains many more multitudes than you or I could ever comprehend. You are yet in the threshold. Whatever lies between you and the Traveler's pale heart is a side effect of the witness's paracausal mutilations. I can feel its power stretching through the portal. I will try to buy us time. Go.
After all the cutscenes, we arrive in the threshold. Yeah, so we are just really bad at flying, which is why we end up crashing our ship. We came in supposedly right after Ikora and Zavala, and neither of them are in sight, so I assume they might have actually completely gone through at this point. Right now I'm taking a look at the incision the witness made. That's the entrance, a black triangle as it is represented to us. Already we've encountered some Taken. Makes sense, the Taken are interlinked with the Deep and were created by Oryx. I believe the Deep and the Witness are separate entities but are related through the darkness. I'm not exactly too sure. This is just based on the information I have from the Witch Queen and that one cutscene, basically. So here we have our first introduction to the mechanic at play, a orb of darkness, or a resonance sphere containing darkness within. So right now we have the darkness, revealing some sort of, path forward through like a hazy mist. However, due to its lack of concreteness, we are unable to traverse forward. So we need to get rid of some enemies. In the meantime, I ended up taking care of this Scion. Let's see how I end up dying exactly. So I'm just too careless. I think like I'm playing decently well in cover, but the problem here is that the Centurion's Axiom darts just track me, and because I just let them track me, a random Scion can get one hit on me to kill me, which is unfortunate. I even make a comment here that, you can't be playing like that. Exactly, cannot be dying like that, actually, to be more specific. Not a terrible death, and was completely unavoidable, so that was completely my fault. Just need to work on slightly better, not even target acquisition, like not even just need to shoot those darts. I can just melee these guys. There we go. Nice. Crystal's gonna take care of it. I mean, I don't know why I didn't finish that guy off a little bit earlier, wasting some time getting back to the Sphere of Darkness. All right, depositing, there's a wizard here. Gonna go ahead and get rid of that guy. But depositing the icon of light into the resonant sphere, went ahead and turned it into a straight up orb. Kind of looks like the Travelers, to be honest. These platforms are now concrete. So the combination of light and darkness combined together and allowed us to progress forward. So thematically, we're doing pretty well already. And gameplay-wise, we've gone ahead and introduced these icons of light and resonant spheres of darkness, which are abstractions of whatever paracausality is happening. And that manifests in how we interact with them, how we interact with this world for the gameplay. Honestly, pretty good job, pretty smooth introduction of the mechanics, pretty good tying in with the themes. Already we worked in, like, how light darkness works together with memory, and it's already helping us traverse forward through the Traveler. So honestly, wow, we're already starting off incredibly strong, and not to slow down. But are those so tangling weavers? Wow, we got pulled forward already. Here we are, first introduction to a new enemy race. Similar energy readings to Scions, however, they are quite different. They do look a little bit similar to Scions, but they are empowered by Strand. This gives them the ability to pull us forward, and that is incredibly annoying, to be completely honest. Like, it is just crazy. It's fairly simple. They don't have like too many other, strange moves. I guess they have like a regular basic attacks, but as we see there, getting pulled forward by just one of them is, harsh enough of a punishment already. When multiple weavers hit us with their strand attacks and start pulling us in multiple directions, that's going to get really annoying. And when it's combined with, enemies that can actually do damage to us, it's going to get even worse. So, even though they are fairly simple in their design and fairly simple in their ability, just that one, introduction can, lead to a variety of absolutely complex scenarios that I will need to navigate with care in the future. So going ahead and do a little bit of platforming as we make my way up here, destroying some of these darkness spikes. So the first one, second one, let's see how many there are. There are 3 spikes. So there it makes us look in the corners to destroy those spikes. And besides that, it also is the introduction of a mechanic pretty smoothly.
Dude, I love the rally banner.
Moving forward, we can go ahead and place down our first campaign banner. All right. Nice. Make a comment. We're in for it. That's what happens whenever a campaign banner goes down. So going to go ahead and take care of these guys up front. The crystals I made in the back slowed things down. I'm going to go ahead and use my super to take care of the big guy. So my super actually is able to open up those spheres of darkness. Most of it seems to go to waste as it takes a little bit while for the enemies to spawn in. But honestly, not too bad. Not the greatest use of my super, but could have been worse. Gonna go ahead and clear out these guys. Stumble upon a Centurion. The Centurion is mighty strong, but it goes down with a couple of ice explosions. Gonna go ahead and pick up an icon of light. There's enemies respawning back in the main room, and there is a shield protecting the resonant orb. So already we're gonna have to shoot the triple darkness spikes in order to lower the barrier, which is crazy because now we've already gone ahead and introduced multiple mechanics and multiple steps in the mechanics. And we're only on, you know, the first encounter of the first mission. So once again, we started off strong and we're continuing to start even stronger. This introduction of mechanics is really good and adds a, you know, good amount of complexity to fight. Luckily, the enemies don't respawn as I waste a lot of time looking for this third resonance spike. Pretty sure it's the one that's directly behind the barrier and I'm just blind. It was at the objective marker the entire time, and I just did not see it. Good job, me. Gonna go ahead and shoot the resonant orb with the icon of light. Boom.
So we didn't get the loot chest, so that means this encounter is still going.
Spherified.
Even my bond with my brother is faint.
We'll find the others. We have to.
All right, Mara just is unable to maintain contact with any other, not even maintain, she's unable to reach any of the other Vanguard members or her own brother. These translucent cubes are interesting, and they lead us into some more pyramid structure. So already we've had multiple change-ups in the vibes, with the previous location being like ADZ related, and now we've already gone ahead and moved into the more alien pyramid vibes. Already a little bit creepy with those gelatinous cube looking things that contains, like, you know, some sort of trophy, I assume. Easily take care of these mobs as I push on forward. There's some guys with some pink shields. I'm not able to do any damage. Gonna go to Penumbral Blast them. I do freeze them. Gonna go ahead and use my super. Our ghost is like, bro, you can't do any damage to them, and that is true. Unfortunately, this is definitely a waste of a super since I can't do any damage at all. All right, so platforming upwards. We're gonna go slightly back in our direction in order to go forwards, which is you know how you have to go forward sometimes.
Yeah, so you
go forward, you go back. Right, some cover, take that immediately as the enemies spawn in. Our light is still restricted, by the way, right? This encounter has still not ended, so it's good to be careful. We can't die this early on. Ooh, blue loot. What is that, bro? Oh man, that's it's infusion fuel, but it is wild seeing blue loot, as blue loot has been completely useless even at the very beginning. It's always been about that purple life, to be honest. I assume that was probably not the case for original Destiny 2 or Destiny 1, but you know, 10 years later, it's all about that purple life, to be honest. Exotics aren't even exotic anymore because there's just so many exotics, but that's neither here nor there, and that's honestly probably a good problem to have, to be honest. Sure, you know, the loot might not be the rarest, but it does mean that there is a ton of stuff to build around. But the only exotics you're going to be seeing me use are the Verglas Curve and Osmiomancy for this campaign. All right, just going to get struggling against these taken shield offerings because their vandal-like behavior makes them, you know, create these shields, and those are really annoying. As you've probably seen, this weapon in my hand looks very shiny. This shiny edge transit is something I earned from Onslaught. I don't have that many shiny weapons, or, you know, edge transits, or, you know, any of those weapons in general, except for the ones you will see me use. This edge transit has cascade points and bait and switch, which makes it pretty good. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, it's pretty good in comparison to the Apex Predator I had before. I would have to say that the benefit of the Apex over the edge transit is that, well, the Apex being rocket launchers has incredibly high damage per rocket, but that's also where the downside comes in. It only has two rockets I'm able to fire off, which is rather annoying when it comes to any situation that isn't specifically boss damage. So the ammo economy provided by the Edge Transit allows me to use the Edge Transit grenade launcher for more than just bosses or mini bosses or armored opponents. But if I need to use it to deal with any ads as well, I can do so. So that's definitely one benefit of the transit.
Honestly, that section was not that bad.
Bait and switch is definitely, you know, probably the most important perk to have as an extra 30% damage. It comes in clutch. So continuing forward, the witness actually
I like all the movement.
notices us and tries to strike us.
Wow, that jump. Oh, okay, we just can't kill them, apparently.
It's trying to convince us through more tempting words to let go. I don't know if it's speaking to us directly or if it's just communicating with the traveler. In either case, the message is honestly the same. Actually, Mara goes ahead and confirms that it sees us. It sees us. I cannot hold us any longer. So in that case, I assume that the witness is talking to us. But honestly, like I was talking about earlier anyway, it could be talking to us and the traveler at the same time, as the message is the same. It is wanting us to give up and let it take control. So while shooting at this enemy, it has a pink shield. I can't do any damage to that, so I have to continue forward no matter what. That's what I realize. As I'm jumping on the platforms forward before I'm pulled in, there's actually a bluish translucent dove that guides our way forward. It's just lurching over there, and now we're being pulled in further through the threshold.
All right, that's the first section done. I do like all the movement, all the contacting Destiny 2 servers. Yeah. We did see this bird guiding us earlier. Interesting. Because it wasn't a dove, but it being white and being made of light, it's like obviously it's like the traveler guiding us or something. The Hawk of Freedom. Damn, look at all these ghosts. Like fireflies. The rain from Mars. Solar flares. I think this is a trailer too. The darkness corrupting the feather. It's like Venom. I like the stringiness. The jumps can hide for corruption. The bond of someone, the necklace. I don't know the character. The traveler is going dark. To a shadow ghost. Fire. Wait. Fire? So. Wait. Stasis. Wait. Arc. Oh. Strand. Wait. Interesting. Because this is the original astronaut. It's become transcendent. I know I'm talking about this cutscene. I can ask you. I mean, the music was great. Really set the mood. The imagery.
All right, cutscene we just witnessed is quite self-explanatory. It's just a complicated metaphor for the witness trying to take hold of the traveler. I assume the pure white eagle flying forward is a representation and manifestation of the traveler and its spirit. As you know, its wings flap over the traveler itself. The feathers fall down behind the creation of ghosts. Very, very intense scene. I assume this is very, very obvious that the traveler is communicating its will to us. Here we are represented as an astronaut. I do believe this is the original astronaut from or just the astronaut from the original Destiny 2 trailer. We just see it manipulate every single one of the elements, or first before we get to that, the darkness is overtaking the feathers of, first we see it on the ground the darkness creeping in, overtaking, striking at the feather left behind by the traveler. So we can take that metaphorically as the witness has taken parts and care of what the traveler has left behind. Like, you know, if we take the traveler as the eagle and the feather left behind as, you know, the Alexni or a civilization left behind by the traveler, then the witness overtaking it first is like its influence creeping forward in order to eliminate every aspect of such a being. But I think that's complicating it way too much, and I'm pretty sure it's just to represent the darkness overtaking the light, as is represented by this, struggle. We don't get to see it the eagle completely, but the darkness is trying its best to pull back the wing. We even see the traveler trying to fall back into complete darkness, and we get a striking, horror like jump scare of a ghost being like completely rotten and decimated. Then we have a flashing of the witness's eyes, trying to show that this is the witness's intent and what it's trying to do. So we have this tree-like structure, the darkness creeping in, trying to overtake the roots of the tree. I assume the tree being like, the tree of life, and that it's symbolism for that, the darkness overtaking the tree of life. Here we have a bandana and like some sort of necklace belonging to probably some very important character that I am not aware of, but you could read more into whatever is meaning by that if what those who this represents. I do not, unfortunately.
The traveler is going dark.
This is very obvious, seeing the ghost.
The traveler is going dark.
The ghost being in the sand probably is referencing this moment in particular. When the darkness is overtaking every single aspect of, the system and turning it, rendering it into an age of darkness. We even see, an eclipse occurring. A halo.
This is the original astronaut.
Is the only light that shines upon us as we combine all the elements of light and darkness within us in order to transcend beyond the bounds of light and darkness.
I mean, the music is great. Really set the mood. We're still in the threshold. Well,
Are we alive? Is this?
So this is the center of the traveler?
Guardian.
The heart of the
That
traveler?
vision. I think we're inside the Traveler.
Our ghost spells out specifically that was indeed a vision, as we are inside the traveler officially, beyond the threshold and continuing inwards. I think the witness was trying to strike at us, and this is the traveler protecting us and giving us a direct way forward, directly to where we need to go. This is the traveler doing its best to help us. It's fighting against the corruption itself, and
This is sick.
it is calling upon our help.
It's like the recent tree. The darkness. The spiral inwards towards the heart of the traveler.
The darkness overtaking the roots of the tree as we are led in.
Oh, okay. So it is nice. It is dynamic.
Grassy, rocky area. We see the
take the player's position to consideration.
as we continue forward, the dynamic loading is actually quite interesting, as we see the path forward is not complete, but it's rendered complete by the more we walk forward by whatever is happening. Pretty cool visual effect, not gonna lie.
Yeah, this is of like what's in front of us, but it fills in
The step off view as we walk up here into the Lost City outskirts and gaze upon the inside of the Traveler itself officially for the first time. It's honestly way more vibrant, and the music with its sting makes it a lot more whimsical than what I say what you might first think, but honestly, it matches the mood of what was inside the Traveler completely, right? It would be completely whimsical, completely magical. Off in the distance, we witness just some cubes. There's just a giant white cube and some smaller black cubes. It's like, all right, what does that mean? Probably nothing, but the abstraction just adds to the skybox and visual aesthetic in the distance. There's some giant ghost models as well being lodged into the ground. What does it mean that these are giant ghosts? I'm not sure, but it looks cool. I literally have no idea what symbolism it could possibly mean. Giant ghosts? Maybe we're standing on the backs of giants or something. Or it could just be, ghosts are important to us in general. The visual effect of, you know, the incision made by the witness is pretty epic. Like that's some wild particle effects, and that's a crazy texture that's constantly moving. Pretty nice. Yeah, the vibrancy of this place is also in stark contrast to like every other grassy location. It's similar the most to like the Garden of Salvation raid, but that was more of a broody and dark, you know, grassy location, as opposed to this more vibrant and lush location full of it's full of light and life, actually. Boom, the bat enemies, the Grim, Servants of the Witness. This is our first introduction, and I'm suppressed right off the bat. Already, they are proving completely annoying by being flying, and the first winged creatures in Destiny, it's, you know, there's like hydras and harpies, but those are technically not winged creatures. It is kind of crazy that these are the first winged creatures. I don't know. I guess that kind of says something about the types of, you know, beings that are able to survive in the Destiny universe, but just doing some cleanup, you know. There's just some ads, gotta get rid of them, no big deal. Pick up an icon of darkness, and that allows us to progress on the way forward by using it as a key. Right? Just gonna make sure there's nothing here, remove the darkness barrier, and I can progress forward. Boom. So within the Traveler itself, light and darkness collide in certain spots, forming wellsprings. This is the obvious parallel to strand concentrations, and you know, once again, the justification for why these exist is pretty good. Light and darkness colliding within the Traveler makes sense, as you know, the witness is here, it attacked. The Traveler just being made out of light naturally makes sense for these spots to appear, and us accessing them allows us to access a state of Prismatic, but it's not a complete state. It just allows us to deal with these prismatic shielded enemies. These prismatic shielded allows us to go transcendent and deal with these prismatic shielded enemies. There we go. Wow, it took me way too long to figure out the mechanic. I think it took me a while to change my... Yeah, I'm talking about changing my keybind. Or Ghost mentions that the street and shop are familiar. And had I played Destiny 1, I would recognize this as the old tower, but that game basically does not exist to me, so I don't recognize this location. But our character does, and Ghost is reminding it as so. Honestly, pretty cool. Glad to see this location reused, retooled. You know, big ups for anyone feeling the nostalgia associated with such a location. Honestly, since this is also a manifestation of our memories, I think, you know, using it as like using the last city as we first saw it when we first arrived, you know, in canon is honestly pretty good. You know, when we were first resurrected, we were guided to our ghost to the last city, and now that we are here within the Traveler, the first location we're going to is, you know, the last city. Pretty good, you know, thematic tie-in, and we're bringing it back. So if you look in the distance, there's this little spinning cube thing with like rounded edges that has a red triangle on it. Like objects like this with different symbols are all over the map, and I have absolutely no idea what they mean. It's just interesting that they exist and to take note of. I'm sure they have some use, but I don't know what they are. That Survival Knight just gonna go ahead and eat itself. Clearing the obstacle requires me to just, you know, clear some ads on both sides. It takes a while to, you know, do this because there's a bunch of enemies. Wow, Season of the Wish really just living rent-free in my head as I tried to destroy a pot. Gonna go ahead and go to Transcendent. I missed my Penumbral Blast in an embarrassing manner there. Attention, contacting Destiny 2 servers, please do not. Gonna take that Icon of Darkness, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump all the way back. I'm taking my time. These platforms are risky because if I get blown off, I'm basically dead. There's a bunch of weavers on the other side. I definitely don't want to get pulled, so I play a little bit too safe and jump all the way back. I say too safe, but honestly that's probably a smart decision. Trying to push forward with that many weavers and Grim would not have gone well because, you know, I would have been suppressed and then pulled. I would have been pulled towards them most likely, but you know, I would have been surprised, which would have been bad.
Very, very telegraphed when they're about to.
But here we go, playing safe is pretty good. Weavers
How did that hit?
being
was
armored
way off.
is really annoying because I can't just take care of them with one shot. They do go down with 2 shots or a attack and a finisher. So that was one side that we just got done with. The Centurion trolling by taking up some space. Gonna go ahead and make some jumps across. There was a rather risky situation where I got blasted upwards. It's actually not that risky. So not that big of a deal. We're continuing forward. There's just some enemies. This side is pretty much identical to the opposite. So clearing the enemies over here. Let me just make sure. Yep, we pick up the icon of darkness from the wizard, and I make my way back. This vandal actually just trolling me by taking up so much space, but it's not going down. Its shield is actually just griefing me. I don't know why I didn't just take care of it while, you know, I had the opportunity, but here we are spending the time doing nothing, just regaining HP. This is a pretty annoying position that I have to fight back from. Honestly, I don't know why I'm not using my edge transit. I think I'm still a little bit not used to having that much ammo. Boom, there we go. Edge transit pulled out, and it takes care of the threats. That's exactly why having the grenade launcher be able to take care of multiple enemies with the amount of ammo it has is a complete benefit in my journey. I might pull out the Apex Predator for, you know, DPS situations or boss phases where I need them, but I think overall, utility-wise, ooh, that was pretty precarious. Overall, like just for the general use case, the Edge Transit is probably going to be my permanent heavy weapon, at least until, you know, I get some more heavy weapons. A taken ogre, the icon of finality, is being really annoying. Gonna go ahead and dump a bunch of grenade shots in it. Wow, noob tube is real, just like that. I have like half my ammo remaining in the Edge Transit, and that ogre is already gone. Honestly, really good.
Also, the way the taking shield works,
I'm sure like 2 rockets from the Apex Predator would have taken care of the ogre regardless, but the fact that I was able to use my Edge Transit during the fights to do damage to, you know, the ads and the bosses, while also now taking care of that boss at the end, is pretty good. Definitely glad I picked up the Edge Transit. Wish I could have played Onslaught longer and gotten an even better one, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Oh, we're forced to walk. I'm just saying. This is a nice view.
More than I've ever felt before.
Good for me.
Feels like
The tree of life.
you could reach
Beautiful.
out and pull all that power to you.
Ooh, big rift.
Could you?
That's a great question. I mean, we mastered stasis. Stasis is like, we're communing. The communing never stops. I mean, we commune. Oh, we can commune. Nice, because we looked at it backwards, it's we're not facing the rift. It's okay, cool guys and exceptions. We have the blue and orange, the classic color pairing. I like the pink prismatic color choice.
The line between light and dark it's gone. It's gone. Guardian, you've fused light and dark into harmony.
Prismatic or what?
How?
Coincidence. For some reason, this info box doesn't take up.
All right, with that, we've gone ahead and gotten access to the Prismatic subclass. So unlike Strand or Stasis even, I'm going to mainly just keep on saying Strand because that's what's on my mind. Unlike Strand, we never got the subclass until after the campaign, but now we've gone ahead and gotten it already in the middle of the first mission. So this gives us access to the aspects and fragments and abilities and specific transcendence abilities right off the bat. So we were introduced to Prismatic as a concept initially by the enemies in the Threshold that had Prismatic shields. Then we were introduced to Prismatic Wellsprings and, you know, the ability to use Prismatic to get rid of those shields in the previous encounter once we got into the Pale Heart. And now we've accessed a proper pool, and we've able to access Prismatic properly, and we're able to access Prismatic abilities all within the first mission. So this was already a pretty good progression of progress of Prismatic within the first mission by itself. This, you know, compared to how Stasis and Strand were handled by giving us an empowered buff that allowed us to spam the abilities, was this was much better because, you know, being able to spam the abilities immediately is cool, but you know, narratively it's kind of weird, and we don't have any customizability or any of that. Prismatic, you know, is kind of all about customizability, since we have so many options to combine a bunch of our light and darkness abilities. Right now they are a little limited, but we are able to unlock more the further we get progress. Right now Warlock is primarily focused on Void and Stasis, and that's rather convenient for me. So aspect wise, Feed the Void is incredibly strong. Devour was what carried me through certain parts of Shadow Throne, so I have good memories of it from there. And Stasis is what I've been using ever since I got it from... Actually, that's not true. Technically, I did use Solar in Witch Queen, but I have been using Stasis ever since then. Been a big fan of my buddy, and big fan of the Ozymandias gloves. That's what it was from Witch Queen. That's why I needed that. So it's convenient that these are the, you know, two elements that I already have affinity towards and am using currently. That makes it rather convenient for it to slot into my build without, you know, causing any concerns. The Transcendence, Grenade, and Melee, I try to read them, but, you know, just reading it doesn't really make too much sense without seeing them what they do. Well, I say it doesn't really make too much sense, but the Melee didn't look like it made too much sense. But the picture for the Grenade looks like it makes perfect sense. It's honestly a pretty good one, right? You throw your nade, and then on impact, when it lands, it goes ahead and does a black hole thing where it sucks everything in while everything is in a slow field. And after sucking everything in, it then explodes everything out. Honestly, as a grenade, it's really good. It's pretty good. Don't know what to say about the Hunter or Titan ones, but I heard the Hunter one was annoying at launch, but people eventually figured out that it's really good for like single target usage. Like we saw the tripwire use, like how Cade used it in the trailer when Crow came into the Pale Heart for the first time. And I know Titan, and just in general, and for Prismatic has been a little bit weaker, but I don't know if that really matters for the campaign, to be honest. But overall, yeah, the progression into getting Prismatic is pretty good. We're still like, it's not we have Prismatic, but it's not like we have all the options available in Prismatic already. It's just, you know, good we got it early on, and we can use it as an official subclass. This way, we also don't have to deal with the empowered states and, you know, whatever shenanigans that entails. And it means we get to use Prismatic for, you know, as long as we are able to, which is good. That means we're not locked out of, you know, not using the new subclass whenever we don't want to, right? Like during the campaign when we didn't have access to Strand, we had to rely on not Strand, which is not cool when Strand is, you know, part of the selling feature for the new campaign, right? I want to use the new subclass and the new campaign, right? So we've gone out and remedied that here with Prismatic. So,
but yeah,
pretty good.
I mean, obviously, we'll be continuing on, so there's gonna be spoilers. So, you know, if you don't want to see any spoilers, be a little wary.
The signal's coming from...
I am doing this on Legend Solo though, so that's why the progress is going probably slower than most people's. I was taking time to, you know, look at the stuff because I was trying to speedrun my way through. Alright, so build Transcendence by dealing with Light and Darkness damage.
Alright, here we are. Third campaign banner. Just getting rid of some enemies. Nothing too exciting is happening right off the bat. Alright, there's some ads. Gonna just, you know, I'm just killing them. I went into Prismatic to, you know, just for fun because I can. We see the nade in practice. Look at that. The tail end even got to it. I'm just, you know, throwing down my Bleak Watcher for fun, I guess.
We do have a for free.
Gonna go and go back in the Prismatic well. Ooh, the shards of darkness have formed to create the face of the witness. I assume that, you know, this is the witness looking at us, but not directly.
That pull was insane.
Keeping in check, you know, keeping in check with her progress, and boom, that's a subjugator of the strand variation. I don't know why I'm saying it so weirdly. But, you know, strand subjugator, we saw their effect when we got pulled up. I don't know, I'm getting so close to it. Bro, back off. Yes, there we go. Edge Transit blasting us. Blasting it, rather. Gonna go and find a Prismatic well. Gonna get to go Transcendent again. But subjugators are now the, you know, elemental variations of tormentors who actually, well, tormentors seem to be just void related entirety actually, because they do create the little void thing that spins above them that's sights towards us. Wow, that was crazy from the subjugator there. 1 hit, 2 hit. That's 2 hits from max HP. 1 hit, 2 hit. That's actually 2 hits. Severed ties.
Then you are in deep full.
And the subjugator was able to put me down. That was actually kind of crazy. I wasn't even done comparing the subjugator to the tormentor. I was about to say, tormentor are named tormentors probably because they are quite relentless and are incredibly aggressive. Subjugators, on the other hand, since there is the strand one and the stasis one, they're both, you know, darkness aligned. They're subjugating you to torment by, you know, strandifying you or raveling you up in strands, you know, tying you up to allow the enemies to attack at you. And stasis, I assume those subjugators will then try to freeze you in order to subjugate you to torture from enemies in that case. I assume that is why the names are the way they are.
God damn, that doesn't. Okay.
They also just sound deadly in general. Gonna go ahead and start off this encounter again. Here we are. I'm taking a bunch of damage. Gonna go ahead and, well, pushed back by a phalanx. You never like to see that.
Do all the up there.
Doing some weird jumps. Going all over the place. Just gonna go ahead and take care of the ads. The restricted light section hasn't even begun. We can't be struggling this early on. All right, the witness reforms, subjugator respawns, subjugator spawns in, subjugator spawns in. Wow, it takes so long. I don't know what the delay there is, but there it is. Wow, that's the power of that nade. Take care of all those weavers right off the bat. I ended up getting hit by the subjugator way too early, so I did say they can track you. So if we look at what's happening here, the subjugator goes ahead and fires off 3. So it fires off multiple, and they do have aim assist attached on them. So it fires off multiple of these strand attacks. I only thought they fired 1, but that would explain the rather large range, and especially with aim assist, it's kind of annoying to dodge, and if not impossible to dodge without being behind cover. It does seem like I am able to fire while I am in that state though, so that is a saving grace, as I can do some sort of counterattack to prevent my death from, you know, presumably the ads that would be attacking me in such a state that would be dangerous. I assume if the subjugator hits me with one of those attacks while I'm close to it, I'm probably dead, since only 2 attacks from it killed me, right? I wouldn't even be able to escape the strand attack it's raveled me in while attacking it back. In that case, gonna go ahead and clear some of these ads, make my way into this pool of prismatic.
So we can move a little bit.
See, I'm behind cover, so even though I was attacked by the strand, whatever, I do live. And speaking of living, that is not something I do, because my final nade ends up just colliding with the side of the staircase. That is actually extremely unfortunate, especially since the subjugator is at low HP and is focused on attacking my stasis crystal for some reason. Great AI, and wow, I cannot believe I blew myself up. That is rather unfortunate. It doesn't even look like the nade should have collided on anything, but I assume that hitboxes are invisible.
Are we serious?
The hitboxes are way larger than the texture, and that is something I will experience multiple times as a problem with that transit. Wow, I died extremely fast that time around. That's sad, but our light is not restricted, so it doesn't really end up mattering. This fight's gonna go ahead and use my super way too early. Come on, what are we doing? Wow, I wasted a lot of time before the subjugator even decided to show up. Luckily, so sorry about that. Luckily, I'm more aware of what the subjugator has in store for me. So nothing too out of the ordinary occurs this time around. Get rid of the Grims. Get rid of don't get rid of Subjugator because it's actually really interested in my Ice Crystal, which is interesting AI behavior. Prismatic again, drop a nade on it, drop a melee on it. All right, it unfortunately hits me, but it's 1 HP. I'm also 1 HP. I almost died, but I think I finished it off. Yes, here we are. Boom, 1, 2, 2 last arrow shots. Take down the Subjugator. I almost died there. The Subjugator also explodes in a dark thorny bush. I'm not sure what deeper meaning that has because the Tormentors do the same. It just might be they explode into darkness because they're bad. Could be as simple as that. I'm gonna go ahead and collect my loot though.
This is not a joke.
The Traveler.
What's that?
It's hurting. I can.
Oh, was that the cries of the Traveler?
The screen dimmed and we heard a rather
Dissonance
sharp shriek. That was a Traveler crying out in pain.
That was pretty good first mission. I assume that because that was our third checkpoint. Unless they're gonna spice it up and have us do a fucking secret fourth thing, but that was not bad. I think it was still a little bit too easy, especially the first 2 sections. I only died at that second part due to myself. So that's skill shadow. I do understand that using stasis and
So,
but
what's next? We're outmatched.
because this seems like so crazy because like honestly, it wasn't even taking me that much effort
What is
to get
that
into
noise?
whatever. Sorry, I'm thinking of that cutscene.
It's coming from over there.
It's always so weird when our Guardian talks. I'm like, yeah, you care. This harmonica music is so RPG Maker. Oh, is that your boy kid? Probably.
You gotta get better boots, Crow. I could hear you coming a mile away. Now, Aldrin, you could sneak up on a fella.
Pineapple, I'm back. Good to see you got him. Yeah, an hour ago. Just finished first mission.
Well, I'll
He was
be
expecting, bro.
damned.
You can't tell footsteps. Nice.
Kate, how long has it been?
A lifetime. The kid told me a few guns were on their way. Said the Vanguard would send their best. It's real good to see you two. I finally have someone to talk to about Crow's stupid haircut.
Got him.
I'm guessing you have questions. And I won't say I have answers. But let's talk.
At least he admits he doesn't have answers.
I like Crow's haircut.
Wow, they did humor correctly. They truly learned the lessons from Lightfall. That was good, because that was like subtle. That was like, we're building like character relationships, got some memes.
Where to even start? I died. You probably remember that. Not great. Partly my fault. Lesson learned. Let's not dwell. And after that, nothing. But not a bad nothing. A peaceful nothing. I think I felt her there too. My ghost. Sundance. She was part of me. Or I was part of her. Like we were 2 cards shuffled back into our deck.
Is that what's gonna happen? Our ghosts and us get merged together?
Oh, that was...
Like, that'd be interesting. I just don't think our ghost just goes away. Like, just because of gameplay systems.
I woke up here in this body alone. No ghost. No way to use the light.
Oh, so we can't use the light. That's
Could
actually
make the
interesting.
dramatic experience better than finding my killer waiting for me. But we talked it out because we're adults.
Thank
Seems
God.
nicer these days. Yeah, pretty low bar, I'll admit. Because we got bigger problems. Bigger, weirder problems. Aro said this was all inside the Traveler, but I already knew. It's in pain. Pain I can feel.
Literally every single obstacle in our way are to get to the center of my deal. Nice, let's go.
Crow calls it Dissonance.
What do you call it?
Doing out here has a name too. The final shape. It's the end of everything. So I figure, might as well try to stop it.
You know, it's interesting because now Cade doesn't have his light. Osiris also lost his light. So I wonder if Cade is going to use Hearts of the Dark or what's going on with him or says guns go. But that black and white cutscene fixed so many problems I had with like the Beyond Light ones or whatever the between ones because like those black and white cutscenes really didn't give us any new information. But this one was completely full of context and new information and helps fill us in. It's interesting that, we don't delve too much on why Cade is alive, but I'm like, okay. I'm sure they have the explanation typed up somewhere just for us to discover. That was a weird message thing. It was like Bandnet, whatever. I guess in the start campaign, did you just make Cade? Yes. Like literally, I think I just completed the very first mission. Well, I mean, I don't know if I completed it, but
Just wish
it's
you were
really
in a
Cade
better
or not.
circumstance.
It's good to see you too, Cade. I never thought.
Hey, it's all right. I get it. This is a lot. And as much as we both want to catch up, we ain't got that kind of time yet. We got to get out there and find Crow. I was expecting him, not you, and that ain't a good sign.
Yeah, you're right. We can save the celebrations for later.
Well, it's
Party, we
emergency.
Can we talk for a minute first? Just you and me.
I'll give you two some privacy. Last I heard from the kid, he was out on patrol, called in some sort of darkness anomaly.
Still doing patrols, even in the Traveler itself. Oh, okay, so Cade just decides to make way for us. Is Argos community vendor? That's interesting. We actually get to talk to
I
him.
looked him over while you were talking. Scan says that's
We
really
need the destination vendor? It is. Okay, so that's either Cade or
There's
Argos.
a
That's
few
crazy.
readings I can't explain.
Speaking of Argos kind of makes sense.
He's made of
Because
light,
we're in Traveler.
like me, like the Traveler.
Oh, so he's just made out of light.
guides, conduits for the light. Cade might not be able to wield his as a weapon, but if he's like me, maybe he can share the Traveler's light. Like me.
That's interesting.
I'm not sure. This is new. But look what else we've gained. I can feel it. The way the light flows through you. Freer. Harmonious with darkness. A full chromatic spectrum. I've only experienced something of this magnitude once before. When the Traveler created ghosts.
I guess if we
raise
become the Traveler
guardians.
dies and we become the Travelers.
We're going to need everyone to save the
Like, I wonder if Travelers gonna die, because the Pale Heart is our destination, and it's inside the Traveler. And this has to exist for the campaign.
After defeating Subject Eater, we enter another cutscene. This time, we hear a harmonica and find that it's playing from Cade. We try to sneak up on him, but he hears us and recognizes us as the Guardian. What if, you know, we change our appearance? You know, I don't think our ghosts would change, but technically our ghosts can change shells. I mean, we'd probably communicate, you know, fast enough to make Cade realize it's us anyways. So that's pretty much that. Nothing too interesting happens here. So here, Cade is just recalling how he felt and why he thinks he's here. Here, while he's experienced this peaceful nothing and feeling like he's part of Sundance, I assume that here he's in whatever, you know, the version of, you know, Guardian Heaven there is. This darkness is interesting, and while initially looking at it, the first things we see are, you know, some tentacles of darkness, but if we pay attention to the even larger tentacles, they aren't quite like the, you know, darkness venom strands and are much more tentacle-like. I wonder if that's indicative of something and would, you know, mean something as to why Cade is here. So this also clears up, you know, when exactly Cade was revived, because he said that because he woke up here alone, no ghost, no way to use his light, so that's probably indicative of the state of why his gun was, why it was like in the cutscene, well, like, you know, he's being stitched by the light. It is interesting that it didn't appear on Cade himself, but that, you know, that might just be Cade was took a little bit longer to come together, but he found Crow pretty soon after, which means timeline wise, Cade was resurrected almost certainly resurrected basically at the same time Crow traveled to the Traveler, or right before Crow traveled to the Traveler. So, you know, already the truth of what is happening is being hinted at. They talked it over because, you know, they're adults, thankfully, and then the cutscene then pans over multiple areas. So if we start from the bottom left, we have the tower, then we have a secondary location, a third location, a fourth location, a fifth location, a sixth location, a seventh location, an eighth location, a ninth location, and then the monolith. Is this a reference to the 9 layers of hell, aka Dante's Inferno? It very well might be the case. The monolith in the middle. So the final shape, the end of everything, has made its, you know, name known inside the Traveler. I don't know how that's the case, but apparently Cade does know of this cataclysmic event as the final shape as well.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I completed it, but
Nothing too interesting can be really deemed from this conversation. We're basically confirmed going after Crow next. Our ghost does confirm that he is made of light like him in the Traveler, but there is something slightly off, and that is the mystery that we are left to think about as the first mission comes to an end.